Guys, and welcome back. In this lecture we'll be learning how to create brushes in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so I'm going to start with this common preset here, and in order to create the brushes you need to use the brushes panel. Okay, so we looked at the brushes panel in the previous video, and we're also going to use it to create our brushes. Okay, and we also looked at the types of brushes in the previous video. So I'm going to start with an ellipse, and then I'm going to shift X to swap the colors, and I'm just going to remove the stroke color here and reduce the size by this much. And in order to create the brush, we have two ways. We either drag it in like this, like how we did the other one, or we select the brush and just come here where it says new brush and you click, and now you see all the types of brushes. We have the calligraphic, we have the scatter brush, the art brush, the Bristol brush, the pattern brush. Okay, now let's start with the calligraphic, and just select calligraphic and OK. Now we see that the options come up, and we are able to edit the options for the brush. We have the angle. We're going to make this, let's say 120 maybe, and then the roundness, and you can practically see from the preview here what you get with the changes you make. Okay, then we have the size. So I'm just going to make this big. Okay, this big, and we can actually choose if we want these changes to be random or fixed, or based on the pressure we get from our pen, that's our drawing tablet. Okay, and we have these other ones. You can just stick to fixed for now. Again, just click OK. You can actually write the name of the brush. Maybe we say our new brush, our new Cali brush. Cali standing for calligraphic, and OK. Good. So now when we select our brush tool and then draw, we see that we are drawing with our new brush. Okay, and here we have it here, our new Kali brush. Okay, so by the time I double click it, we are now able to also edit. Maybe we want the angle to be like this, maybe the roundness to be a little bit more to the oval side, and just OK. And you'll be required to specify if you want to apply them on the existing ones. So when you do, you see what we now have. Okay, so calligraphic pens or brushes can be used to create some really beautiful artworks. Okay, mostly writing. Okay, so I just increased the artboard size. I'm selecting my brush tool again. Let's write something. Let's say happy 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 Christmas. My writing here is bad. I'm just going to delete this once here and try to write again. So okay, we can see that Illustrator puts the smoothing effect for us automatically. That's because we have taken the fidelity to smooth, right, from our previous video. Christian, or the Christ mass. Okay, so we're going to create a new one, new brush. Select and come here, calligraphic brush. So for this guy, I'm going to take the angle to this. Okay, and then for the roundness, I'm just going to kind of bring it a little bit lower like this, and I'm going to leave every other thing the same. and OK. And this one should give us a more dramatic effect. So let's write good. Let's try to increase the font size and see, or the stroke. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like it now. Just delete and start with a stroke of 3. Good. So you can see how sweet and nice it's looking. Okay, and you know, of course, that we can kind of duplicate our letters, right? And we can kind of edit them using the direct selection tool. We can kind of move anchor points, kind of do stuff like this, okay, if we want. So here I have good, then vibes, perfect. Select them, give it a bit of rotation, and then maybe scale it down a bit. Good vibes only. Just going to make this hole really big and dramatic. You see, we're just going to repeat it here. Perfect. Tilt the bits. I'm just going to maybe make this hole a little bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, so I like what we have here. Good vibes only. And maybe we can just have something like this. Okay. Just increase the stroke sizes. Perfect. Good. I'm really going to take the artboard tool and kind of duplicate this artboard so as to create all the stuff. And okay, the next we're going to look at is um sorry. The next we're going to look at is a scatter brush. So for this, I'm going to use a symbol. I'm going to use symbols. So just come to this symbol panel, or if it's not open here, come to panel, then go to symbols. Okay, symbols. Now come here and go to the libraries, and let's look for something flowery. Okay. Okay, sorry, I am currently at the brushes panel. Let me just dock it here. Okay, so we need to be on symbols. So come to libraries, and then let's check flowers. Perfect. Now we're going to use some of these flowers to create a scatter brush, so you can see how they work, right? So we're just going to drag them out like I did this one. So just select the symbol and drag it out like this, and just scale it up and select, drag it out, scale it up, select, drag it out, scale it up. Whichever one, select, drag it out, scale it up. Okay, let's take this guy also, scale it up. Okay, scale it up. So now these are the symbols we're going to use for our demonstration. Okay, now the next thing we have to do is select them and just expand them. Okay, you might need to do this a couple of times for some of them. Let me see. So just expand and okay, select, expand. Okay, select, expand, select and expand, and expand, and select this guy and finally expand. So I think we have done justice to all of them. If we do not expand them, we are going to get some errors while trying to create our brush. So bring to front, bring this guy, arrange, bring to front. I want it to be behind. Okay, I don't know why it's not. Let me just work with what I have like this. So sorry, I think we need to group some of them, because after expanding, some of them cease to be in groups, right? So let's try it now. Let's select every one of them, maybe scale them down a bit, and then come to the brushes panel and click here, and then go to scatter brush and okay. Now we have the size, we have the spacing between them, we have the scatter, whether it be fixed or random or based on a pressure pen, and we have the rotation. So I'm just going to randomize all of them and just try to create something. I think the best thing to do is just make them fixed. Okay, just make them fixed for now, so that we just create the brush first. So that's okay. Now we have now created our brush, so let's just shift these guys here and use the brush tool to draw out on the artboard. Now what we can then do is just come double click on the scatter brush and then let's now make some changes and see as they get affected on our drawing here. Okay, so when we have the size, when we change the size, we can see that the sizes increase. Okay, and then for spacing, I think we should just keep the size as default, almost as default. Okay, so for the spacing, we can maybe reduce it or increase it. Maybe we should reduce the spacing. Then the scatter, I think what we have presently is still good. What we have here like this, or in the default state, is still good. The rotation, maybe yeah, something like this will do. And then we can see that we also have here which says rotation relative to. We can make the rotation relative to the page or to the path being drawn. Okay, and you can see the changes as I edit. So I'm going to leave it at path and then okay, and it now says whether I should apply the changes, and then just click apply. And I now take my brush. All our artwork will be created based on our new settings. Okay. So in fact, we can just saturate our artboard with these flowers and create a very nice background. Okay, and use this as a very nice background. Perfect. It's possible to just export the artboard. Let me just try exporting into file. Export. Let's export as. Okay, and then we just we use JPEG and then use artboard, and we want to export only artboard 2. So artboard 2 to 2, and then let's use this. Let's name this background, and okay, export. And we don't have where we choose the color mode, so RGB, and I'm just going to make this 300. Okay, yeah, and our artboard has been exported. Now this is what we now have. We can use this to serve as a background if we want. Okay, perfect. Now on the next type of brush, maybe I'll just use the artboard tool to kind of separate the two artboards and create a new one by duplicating this one, the artboard 1, and just delete the work we have here. And next we're going to be looking at creating a Bristol brush. So create the ellipse and Shift X to give it the fill color, and when you just come here and then choose the Bristol brush. Okay, even though we have the art brush, let's just create the art brush first. So when you create the art brush, okay, and we of course have our options. We can change the name, we can stretch to fit stroke length, okay, or scale proportionately, and so on and so forth. We can select a key color. Let's just use tints, okay, and okay. Now we have our new brush, and when we take our brush tool, you can see that this is how the art brush works. This is how the art brush works. It just stretches our shape and creates a brush with it. Okay, stretches our shape in the path of the brush. That's simply how the art brush works. So let's try editing some of the options to see what we get. So you see, scale proportionately, this is what we now get. Okay, and basically not much, but you get the point. And that's it for the art brush. So I'm just going to create this guy again and give it a fill color, and come and create my brush. Now I have the next one, which is the Bristol brush, and okay, and we have options for the Bristol brush. Let's just hit OK and then try to create a Bristol brush. We can see what the Bristol brush looks like, right? Kind of create this effect of let's see, watercolor. Okay, this watercolor effect, this kind of effect. So that's what the Bristol brush does. Now I'll click on it and let's try to change some of the settings so we can see what we get. Okay, so for increasing the size, this is what we get. The Bristol length, this is what we get. Okay, the Bristol density, this is what we get. The thickness, this is what we get. Okay, the paint opacity. Okay, and we have this one we call the stiffness, so it's either flexible or rigid. Perfect. So we are now asked whether to replace or to apply. Then we apply, and yeah, so this is now our brush. And of course we can change the color. Okay, so this is what we get. So I would like this effect. I'm gonna try to use the block tool and see if it's going to work with this brush. Okay, go back to the paintbrush tool. So that's it for the bridge tool brush. And finally, we're going to be creating the final one, which is called the pattern brush. So for this guy, we are going to be importing some images. Okay, so go to file and go to open, and then drag out all of these images, all of these selected ones. Drag them out like this. Okay, all of them, excluding this guy and excluding the background. Okay, so just drag them out, and okay, open. Okay, I actually have them all opened as different documents. So I'm just going to drag them into the existing one, or our project file. You know what, I'm just going to close them all and I'm going to import them. So there are actually other ways of bringing them, of course, you know by now. We can either place them or we can just drag them. The simplest way is to just drag them. So I'm just going to drag them. Okay, drag them. So drag them into Adobe Illustrator, and they are now imported. And this brush we have here, this artwork we have here, has a way of consuming our memory space. Okay, so in order to clean up some memory space, I'm just going to delete the whole thing, and yeah, Adobe Illustrator is now smooth again. We're going to create brushes with these images. Okay, with these images. So for this guy, I actually wanted to create the pattern brush with it, but I've changed my mind. I'm just going to delete. I'm not going to use it because I think it's not going to go down well. Now this is a dumbbell. This is a dumbbell, and for this guy, I want the size of this part here to fit into here to here. Okay, so I'm just going to reduce the size like this. Let's try to fit it in perfectly. Maybe scale it up a bit. Perfect. And I'm going to drag this guy to this point so that we have the other half of the dumbbell, or the other end of the dumbbell. So what I will do is I'll just reduce the sizes of these images like this. Now whenever you import an image into Illustrator and you see this X outline across the image, what Illustrator is telling you is that this image has a link outside Illustrator. Okay, so it's not fully in Illustrator, it has a file outside Illustrator which it links to. Okay, so that's it. So there's what we call embed image. So this function called embed image helps us to bring our images fully into Illustrator, and with that we can take the file of the Illustrator, like the file we're working on, and send it somewhere to a different computer where we do not have that image copied, and we'll still find our image inside. Okay, that's one thing we can do with embed image. And in order to create brushes also, we need to embed our images. So that's what we're going to do now. So select the image, come to properties panel, and where you see embed, just click on embed, and you can see that we no longer have the X outline. So select each of them and just embed. Now if we try creating the brush, let's see, we just drag it in and we try creating the brush, okay, the pattern brush, we can see that we won't be able to create it. Okay, so it means we really have to embed the image. So embed, perfect. And then the next thing to do is, of course, to create our brush, right? So drag it here and pattern brush and okay. And now we can see the options for the pattern brush. Let's give it the name road, okay, because it's a road image. Then for the scale, fixed is okay. And basically, let me just reduce the scale a bit. And then we have the colorization method. We have tint, we should just leave it at tint, and stretch to fit. And with this now, we take our brush tool and just drag, holding down shift. Okay, and as you can see, we've now turned our image into a brush. Now when I zoom in, we can see that what Adobe Illustrator did is just took these images and multiplied them along the length of our brush, right? And we can even do curved shapes, okay, with our brush. But we can see this white line here, and it's just an error that happens when your image is not properly cut, okay. And of course, if your line is too curved, you are definitely going to get this error even if you have a good image. So that's one thing you have to note. Yeah, that's it for this guy. And you can see that we can simply just create our road kind of design, right, using the brush, and everything goes perfectly. Yeah, so select everything and just delete. And then for this guy is Europe, and just select the guy and come and click and use your pattern. And now we can see that this is what we have, right? And the settings, we just leave everything the way it is. And okay, now take our brush and drag, and we can see that we are now able to create a very beautiful rope design using our custom brush. It should definitely take time to paint. Good. Yeah, so that's how our pattern brush will work. Now for the last one, we have a dumbbell, and what we have here, let me just delete this guy too. So we have a dumbbell, and then we have three parts to this. We have three parts, okay. So the first one is the middle, or rather the first one is the left side, then the middle, then the right side. Now I'm going to select the middle and drag it in, okay, and select paintbrush, okay, and let's see, dumbbell, and okay, perfect. Now we have our dumbbell brush here. Okay, now what if we want to have these guys at the edge, at the left and right edges of our dumbbell, right? Because a dumbbell doesn't just have the shaft here, right? It has the head and the other head, right? So what you do is select the first one, which is this one, and drag it there, and just hold down Alt and place it here, and okay. Select the second one, drag it there, hold down Alt and leave it here, and okay. Then we use our paint tool and just drag out. Now we see that this is our dumbbell. We've achieved our dumbbell, and we can even maybe use a pen tool and maybe create a stroke like this, and just come and give it this And yeah, as you can see, it looks perfect. Good. Yes guys, and that will be it for the pattern brushes and for all the other types of brushes. So I'm just going to leave this artboard in an Illustrator file so you can have access to it, and I would love you to just go in and try to create and make sure you create this. Okay, just try to create this and many other more, maybe 3 more. Okay, you can just think of whatever word you like to have and then just create it using the calligraphic pen. Okay, and also practice and practice and practice, because that's the only way you will get used to whatever you're learning. That will be it for this lecture on custom brushes, and see you in the next one.